Have you ever wanted to really raise your game to such a crazy level that you knew you could never be stopped, and all you'd ever get is happiness, wealth, health, and the love of everybody around you who you like, not the ones you don't like? Well, I'm going to give you some insights into that in this podcast. Don't go anywhere else. This is Speak on Stage. Welcome to Speak on Stage with Dave Crane, the podcast where we unpack the art and science of public speaking to help you command the stage with confidence and authority. I'm your host, Dave Crane, and as a seasoned speaker, coach, and entertainer, I've had the privilege of helping thousands of individuals like you to unlock their true potential on stage all around the world. Each week, we'll bring you candid conversations with industry experts, successful speakers, and thought leaders, delving into proven strategies, practical tips, and personal anecdotes to empower you to become a captivating communicator. So whether you're a seasoned pro looking to refine your skills, or a beginner taking your first steps onto the stage, this podcast is your go-to resource for mastering the craft of public speaking. So grab your notepad, open your mind, and get ready to amplify your impact as we embark on this journey together. Welcome to Speak on Stage with Dave Crane. Together, let's jump and grow wings on the way down. There we go. Very excited to see you. I hope you're okay today. Loads of stuff to go through. I've just spent the weekend at this most incredible event called Gladiator Summit 2. And it's run by a friend of mine, Darius Sudi. Had some major stars in it. And I want to show you footage of it, but we haven't sent it today. Reason being that I've got some stuff on my phone, but I haven't had a chance to go through it. It was yesterday. It was over the weekend it happened. And if you're watching this video or listening to the podcast in weeks to come, you're going to go, Dave, surely you'd have it by now. Yes, but if you caught it fresh when I'm broadcasting, I didn't. And they're going to send me stuff, but everyone's off today because I've been working on the event for about, 3 months. And so Darius was obviously put the event together. That's Gladiator. And Munir Al-Basidi was hosting it alongside lots of big stars, Vishen Lakhiani, Brad Lee, Renee Rodriguez, Julie Lewis, and lots of other people from the UAE, but also from across the world, came into town and just rocked the stage. There must have been about 2,000-3,000 people in that room. Not a very small room. It's not like a living room. It was a huge auditorium at the World Trade Center. But it was just incredible. And I will share more on it in the future. I'll probably bring Darius on to have a chat all about the mindset that goes behind it. And you never know, I may be speaking on that stage. Mark my words. But I want to share with you some incredible insights. But here's the thing, before I start anything, how are you today? Are you good? If you're watching it live, then let me know where you are from. If you've got any questions, then post them in the comment section. I'll answer it as we go. If not, if you're watching it later on, or I'm too busy to look at the answers, then I will come back to you later on. So anything you want to ask, then please feel free to do so, because most people end up watching the replay or listening to the replay, which is challenging, because if you're listening to it and I show you a picture and go, what do you think of that picture? Then you're going, I don't know, Dave, I can't see it. And then I've got to describe it to you, and it's never the same. So if you listen to the podcast, I'm now showing you exactly how to scan a QR code that's going to give you an instant $1,000 as soon as you do it. But only the first 100 people are going to get it. Have a look now. See, that's the magic of video versus having it on a podcast. Not knocking the podcast. I'm just saying. In fact, funnily enough, I don't know how you feel, but round about now, the broadcasting of this is mid-November, and I'm feeling Christmassy. It's kind of that end of year feeling. Maybe I'm just on buzzing good mood. Here's how I feel. I want to put some music in like this. Can you hear this? I want to change my setting, just like Santa Claus would do, like this. See? Didn't mean to hit the microphone with my hand like that. If you heard it on your headphones and you're wondering what's happening. So this would be it. I'm just wondering how to turn the volume down. It's a bit loud, There we go. That's a bit of it. That's better, see? This, if you're listening to it, I've just changed my background to being in a scene in the UK, maybe, or in Scandinavia or somewhere, or Canada, somewhere it's snowing. And it gives you that kind of warm feeling that you're just about to enjoy, a hot cup of cocoa or coffee, and maybe some cake, some scotch. Look, he got everything here. What are these? Oaties. There you go. But I'm not going to eat them now because that'd make a terrible show. And I was just telling you because I thought it was important to prove that point. Anyway, let's get back to the business at hand, which is really all about getting ourselves into the mood for being able to learn how to grow your business to a much, much higher level. So watching all these speakers, and it's very rare for me to go along to an event and actually be in the audience. I don't normally go and sit in the audience. And I decided to treat myself for a change. Why would I treat myself? Because what can happen is when you're hosting an event or speaking on an event, you're working. And so you don't get a chance to have the full experience of what the event's meant to be. And when the speakers are on, I'm normally arranging stuff and talking to new speakers and finding how to introduce them, or keeping an eye on the audience, or talking to the sound and light guys, or making sure all the PowerPoint presentations are in place, or getting some extra notes, or talking to people who need stuff. And I don't really get a chance to sit and watch with speakers, but this time I did. And I put copious notes together because sometimes you need to actually do all that work yourself. I don't know if you can see all this different stuff. You can't see it. Look at all these notes. And you're going to look at it and say, Dave, your writing is terrible. And my writing is terrible. But there's a reason for it. When I first became a journalist and started working at the BBC, when I went to my course to learn to get got a postgraduate diploma in radio journalism, part of it was learning T-line. And if you don't know what T-line is shorthand. And that means that you can write really quickly, so you can write words really quickly. So I got up to 80 words a minute, I think it was I could do. And it's not like writing properly. It's not like man, cat, shopping, trajectory. You would use just abbreviations and lines and squiggles and stuff. So nobody in the outside world could read it, but you could write very quickly at the same kind of pace as people would speak to you. And I argued with the course. In fact, I argued with a lot of people on the course. And I said, look, I'm going to get a job in radio. Why do I need to write stuff down really quickly? And they said, because that's what we do on the course. I said, I don't want to work on a newspaper or magazine. Everything I want to know will be on record. In those days, they had like recording machines called Ewers, which were reel-to-reel things, big blooming things. It's like walking out with a suitcase. I'd just like to have a chat with you. Okay, well, keep walking. I can't. It's too heavy. Can you slow down? No, I can't slow down. Well, can you moonwalk? That's if you interview Michael Jackson. Mind you, it'd be faster if you walk backwards. Not now, but then. So it was very challenging because I said I don't need to learn T-line. I just need to learn what I need to know to be able to be successful at this. And funnily enough, with the course, I'm going to not knock the course too much because it got me my first foothold in working at the BBC. But it illustrated something really important to me about the educational system. The educational system is often set up to be able to do the very best for the people at the time it was set up, but it's not always updated. So, for instance, I learned a load of stuff that would only position me to be very good at doing radio. It was a radio journalism course. Fantastic. The BBC accepted it as a qualification and said, come on in, work in our studios, work with the news team, do some presenting, all that kind of stuff, which I did for about 3 or so years, and then went over to Dubai and did it for about another 10 or so years. So I had a great career working in radio. But I argued with the guys on the course, and I said to them, look, first of all, I don't need to learn shorthand. I'm going to be able to record everything. And secondly, why am I writing essays about subjects like politics and administration and whatever it was? I can't remember, honestly. Can't remember. You get me to write all these articles because you want to see that I'm a good all-round journalist. I don't want to be a good all-round journalist. I want to be really good on the radio. I want to be really good at broadcasting. Because I don't believe that I'm going to have to write an article that's going to complement everything. People will either listen to me on the radio, or they'll watch me on TV, or that's it. I went, yeah, but we've always had a course like this. I said, yeah, but it's wrong. So I ended up having an argument with the guys and saying that the course was not up to speed for where it was I wanted to be. And everyone went, shut up, just do it. So I just shut up and I did it. And it ended up with me getting a good qualification, which led to the place where I am right now, which also led to the ability to be able to do broadcasts like this. I wouldn't be able to do a broadcast like this if I hadn't gone through that course. So thank you very much for all the hard work, all the people that put it into it. But going back to the original thing about the challenges of working and going through university and getting qualifications, they're not always geared up to where you need them to be. So what you do have to do is work out alongside them how you can grow your side hustle, which is your fastest way to realize if a market actually wants your stuff. Because if a market wants your stuff, they'll buy it. But the market changes all the time. So even if you are getting qualified, in my opinion, what you need to do is you need to keep working and keeping an eye on the trends and the systems and the clues that are out there that things are shifting right in front of you. Because often the courses don't do that. And often businesses don't do that. And that's why they don't get up to speed. I had a conversation the other day about somebody talking to me about AI. And you may have come across those conversations where people say AI is everything. And I do believe AI is a lot. Yesterday on the stages, people talking about the fact that when you're discussing AI, if you don't have AI as your job, you won't have a job anymore. Excuse me, the AC's just come on. You know why? Because I went to the North Pole. That's what it was. It was sneezing for the North Pole. Very visual gag for anybody who's listening to the radio or listening to a podcast. So I was talking about the fact that, what was I talking about? Are you paying attention? Good for you. So we're talking about the importance of AI and the difference it makes to everybody. And I said, well, I don't think AI is going to really affect your job so much, but what it will do is affect your job description. Because if you can use AI effectively in what you do, the odds are your job will still be intact because your skills will still be useful, but you've got to use them in conjunction with AI rather than AI replacing your entire industry. So if you're a lawyer, your job comes from having it all in your head and studying really hard so you can turn around and say, I know the law on this. I'll just go home and check on my millions of books just like this, and then I can come back and tell you how to interpret them, and that's why you pay me so much money per hour. And they go, but I only wanted to buy a Twix. No, it's going to cost you $10,000 for the knowledge about Twix. I could have a Kit Kat then. There are other chocolate bars available. So it's really important that you do understand that AI is a great thing to have, and it's really important to understand that you do need to use it. But I also think that what you need to do is keep an eye on how it affects the industry. So many things are changing all the time, but you still have incredible skills, your human skills, your emotional intelligence, your ability to look at stuff and go, that's not quite right. I want to do this differently. And that's a useful thing to have. So I think that what we need to talk about in terms of qualifications is very different. And that's why for my own daughter, I've said to her, you don't have to go to university. You can go later on when you know you want to and you know what you really want. But right now, let's talk about working, running your own business or getting a job or whatever you need to do. Because the most important thing you need to have is the ability to learn how to make money and to be happy. And also have to look after your health and wealth. So these things all come together, not necessarily working in a job, because if you go and get a job with somebody, I'm not knocking all the 99% of the people paying attention and saying, I've got a job, Dave. That's not very nice. I know, I'm not knocking that you've got a job. I think it's great that you look after your family or your life, or you go out and get bladdered and whatever it is you do with it. What I'm saying is choice. You have a choice to work for you and the circumstances that you want without somebody telling you that what you must do. And also, when you get promoted at work, it's because you've done really well, not because there's a gap. And not because of the fact that the boss may or may not like you. There's so many moving pieces that could leave you stagnant and foil your career plans. Nowadays, there's more and more influential people who are becoming millionaires in their 20s and earlier. Why? Because they've stepped out of the system, they've had a helicopter view of what's going on, and they said, I can do this differently, I can do this myself. And that's why I think it's really important to be able to address this. And you're wondering where this is going. Well, where this is going is we're going to be looking at the different things you need to be able to do to be more effective. So with that, welcome to today's podcast. It is Speak on Stage, as you probably guessed. My name is Dave Crane, which you probably worked out, and I want to share with you a number of different ideas, starting off with this. A thought leaders game. Now, if you're looking on your phone, you probably won't be able to see this at all. So I'm going to make it so I've gone small, tiny. There you go, little Dave. And you can see that a little bit better. If I press this button and it disappears completely, there is no me. But you can see there 20 different elements that are really important to position yourself as a thought leader. Now, let me just give a caveat before I say this. Not everybody wants to be a thought leader. Not everybody needs to be. Sorry, I was just drinking some water there. But what you do need to have is some kind of control over where your destiny is. What you need to have is an idea about what your legacy should be, because if you don't dictate it from the very beginning or have some kind of idea about where it's all going, other people will tell you where it's going, and it will be 100% guaranteed to be something that's useful for them and not necessarily as useful for you, unless you're working for your boss and your boss is who you're married to, in which case you're probably on for a good journey until you have an argument and then they make you sit in the car all night and don't feed you. But anyway, enough about my life. I'm joking. We don't do that. So let's look at this thought leaders game. Let's play with a little bit of it. So First of all, you're probably thinking, Dave, where do I start? There's so many things there: branding, avatars, your podcast, your favorite. Let me just make it bigger so you can see there. Your favorite brand, answering tough questions, doing live streams, going for job interviews, writing a book, doing your social site. Let's just choose one particular area. So whether it's let's go for your legacy. Let's start off with your legacy. Let's go for that first of all. So when we're talking about your legacy, there's a number of questions that you really need to ask to think about how it's going to all come together. And your legacy is great because what it is you don't have to wait until you're dead to work out whether you were useful or not. What it's about is making sure you are useful for yourself and for other people while you're alive, so therefore you can get the adoration and get the rewards of creating great relationships with people. There's so many people who save up money, and it's a boomer thing. It's like my parents' generation, saving up money and hiding it away and having lots of it. And then when you die, you didn't enjoy any of it. And I'm not saying you shouldn't leave stuff for your family, but really? Why don't you just enjoy more of it while you're working on it? Not saying you shouldn't put it away either. You've got to make sure you're around and make sure that you're not reliant on anybody else. But your legacy is really important to get the kind of balance that you really need right now. And there's room for everybody to be able to do it. And as you hear that beep beep, it means that I haven't muted my my WhatsApp. So just ignore that. My wife sent me a message saying, "Did you mention me? Get back in the car." She didn't say that. I can't read it out for obvious reasons because it's private. So your legacy, what goes into making your legacy? Let's have a look at this. So first of all, what's inside your legacy? Well, here's what you've got to ask. What do you want to achieve from your life? Have you thought about that? Most of us do what everybody else is doing. We go to a job, we've got connections, somebody says we'd like to do that, the school says, why don't you study this, because then you can be one of those, and then you do it. And often when you arrive at the first time and you go to your first job, you say, here I am, I've got this degree, this qualification, I'm really, really good at this. They turn around and say, yeah, I don't care. Everybody's got a degree, everyone's got a qualification. Go and gather those papers and put them in that bucket over there, and then come back after you've made me a cup of tea. But that's not what I'm qualified for. I know, but that's how you work in this office. You've got to work your way up. It's like an apprenticeship. And here's the thing that's really difficult about the fact that when you've got a qualification, if everybody's getting the same qualifications, and my daughter goes to an incredible school where they shared the fact that most of the students got A's and B's and went off to incredible universities because it's a really good school. I'll give them a plug, Sharjah English School in Sharjah in the UAE. Most of the kids went off to great universities with great qualifications, but here's my challenge. If everyone's got great qualifications, it means that nobody's got great qualifications because everybody is equal. So therefore, you've got to find something that makes you different. Because here's the fact. Let me just see if I can find this to share with you. The formula for being paid is this. Two things. The effect of a job that you do, and how cheaply you can be replaced by getting somebody else in instead of you. That's a fact. That's true. I hope it makes sense. It's not just me going blah, blah, blah. So when we're looking at that, I'm saying, okay, so I've got to be unique. I've got to be something different. I've got to stand out. I'm going to be something that people would invest in. Well, how do I do that? And how do I keep myself happy? I'm going to share this with you as well. So here's how you win. And if you're looking at this on, if you listen to the podcast, I'll describe what's going on here. It's called the hedgehog concept. It's a bit like the Ikigai, which has got 4 circles in a Venn diagram, but this one has just got 3 because it's easier to understand if you're me. First circle is a blue one, and it says that, and it's not because it's blue that it's important. It does ask a question: is what are you best in the world at doing? So you work out what you're really good at doing. You write it down on a bit of paper. Make it a big enough bit of paper. Don't make it tissue paper because your pen will go straight through it. So what am I best at doing? And then the next one is a circle that was red. It doesn't have to be red. And it's got what are you passionate about? So what is it you love to do? I'm brilliant at doing this. That's the blue one. I love to do this, which is the red one, and the green circle, which overlaps both of them, is what drives your economic engine, which in real language means what will people pay for? So you've got to be good at something, or brilliant at something, you've got to love doing it, and also people got to want to pay for it. If they don't do that, it's just a hobby. It's unrealistic. You're not going to make any money out of it, or if you do make money, you'll be rich but bored, or maybe you won't be able to, it's something you love but you're not very good at. Like me in football, I love watching football. I watched England win recently. Hey, in fact, during my entire lifetime until recently, it was always a bit, oh, well, never mind, maybe next time. But they're doing okay now, kind of. And one thing, since I was a smile in my daddy's face. I could have said that differently, and I'm not going to on this podcast anyway. So you're going to work out what's the win, which is what you're brilliant at, what you're passionate about, and what will drive your profit. That's what you need to do in life. And that may be aided by getting your qualifications, but it may be aided better by just going out into a field, not actually into a field. You need to pick up a scarecrow, especially if there's a bull there, and you become like squashed or impaled. But going out into the business world and saying, right, I need to learn some skills. I need to learn to sell. I need to learn to market. I need to see what the people want to pay for. And that's what this is. You work out what you're great at, what you love to do, what people will pay for, and that's what you do for the rest of your life. I hope this makes sense for everybody who's thinking about it and going, oh, right, Dave, okay. And everyone who's not thinking about it is going, I don't really know what you're talking about. So going back to legacy. What do you want to achieve from your life? That's the first question. Going to the Hedgehog, which is not devised by me. It's from Jim Collins' book, Good to Great and Built to Last. So actually, I fancy some coffee. You see, all year round, I use this mug. And I'll just show it to you now. It's got Santa Claus on the front of it. During the pandemic, I started using the cup. And the weird thing about using it during a pandemic is all year round it felt like the same day. It was like Groundhog Day. You might have experienced the same thing if you work from home. And so it always made sense to use a Christmas mug because it made me happy. Just indeed it does too. So I'm like, look at that scene on the podcast. If you're listening, can't tell. But it is. It's a snowy scene. Going back. Okay. Santa, you make amazing coffee. So going back to this, what do you want to achieve from your life? The big question. The next question is why? Why do you want to achieve that? The reason I say it is because often people get the wrong idea. So they say, I want to be this. And you say, why do you want that? And you go, I don't really know because everyone tells me or because it looks like it's fun. And you say, well, does it really make you happy, the idea of getting that? Well, not really. That's not what I want. In that case, if you haven't got a why that works, then don't do that. Ask yourself why with everything you come up with, because it's really important. Because once you've got it, then you set off on your journey, and the journey is another conversation for another time. I'm not going to spend too long on that today, but I just want to get you to get your head around the stuff. And this is based on a lot of the stuff when I was watching these incredible speakers on stage who were sharing all the different concepts and ideas and things they'd done with their incredible lives. It came back to the same stuff about legacy, and that's why I'm giving you a snapshot of it right now. Okay, so what are your strengths? What do you do really well? What can you do that is so wow that people can just leave it to you and you'll take care of it? And if you don't know what the answer is, then you need to actually look at it. List all the skills that you've got. And skills are completely different. Well, my beautiful wife Aziza, when we're working together in our company, and doing all the speak on stage stuff, all the game changer stuff, all the industry icon stuff, she's completely different to me. And it's not because she looks different, but she does, thank goodness. That'd be horrible. Here's my wife, big beard. Everyone will go, oh, it's perfect as your wife, Dave. But I'm glad you're married. No, what it is she's brilliant for systems. She's an operations expert. She's from Singapore. She understands how to put stuff together. She's very technically minded. And from a very early age, she was like a whiz at devices. I'm a creative. So we've got completely different skill sets. I like to daydream and come up with really good ideas. She likes to implement them and she wants me to work faster. Completely different, but sometimes it complements really well. And sometimes I have a big fat fight, as you would do if you work with your partner. You probably know this. Okay, so you've got to work out what your strengths are, what their strengths are, and get them to complement if you're working to put together a team. Never, ever, ever hire people who are exactly the same as you, because all you'll do is daydream or get nothing done. Or argue a lot. Okay, next up is this. What do you love to do? And I showed it to you already with that diagram. And then the other question is, who will pay for your expertise? Do a list of these things, write them all down. I should stop hitting the microphone. See, I've moved the microphone. You probably noticed in previous podcasts, you couldn't see the microphone. And then I've watched so many people who've got podcasts where they got the microphone in it. And I could raise it higher. I'm going to make a noise like that. But then it looks weird, I think, doesn't it? Does it look okay? I'm looking around for imaginary people in the room who might be commenting. There's nobody. Okay, the microphone's got a bit closer, and it's kind of in my face. But if it's in my face, there's a good chance of me hitting it if I'm expressive and using my fingers and my hands and picking my nose and scratching my chin and doing that thing on my head, which makes no sense whatsoever. Be careful, Dave. You're going bald as it is. So, going back to the original thing, is who will pay for your expertise? You've got to work that out. Who do you know is interested in investing in what it is that you do really well? Then you've got another question. What will be your roadmap ahead? So from where you are right now, what's missing? What do you need to do? And it's normally, I'll spend some time with this on another session. Or if you want to contact me directly. In fact, if you want to contact me directly, let me share with you now. We do a WhatsApp group. We're going to be going through this next week. Maybe start this week, actually. If you want to join our WhatsApp group, here we go. It's called Turbocharge Your Career 5-day challenge. And there's a QR code. Okay? If not, just contact me. I'll put it into the credits, the comments of this live broadcast so you can actually go along and join us. I've got hiccups. Terrible things having a podcast. Hopefully it'll be okay by the end of it. You'll never know. Oh, it's gone again. Okay, going back to this now. That's a QR code. So going back to it then, what's your roadmap? How are you going to move forward? How are you going to put it all together to make sure that you have a path for other people to follow to create the success that you really need to have? There is a way of doing a roadmap. My roadmap for what I do is this. 6 steps. Preparation, aspiration, driving, positioning, refining, and owning. Okay, that's what I concentrate on to make sure that I've got it all right for you. And that's what I do with my industry icon clients, my game changer clients, and when I'm working with people on their vision of where they need to be. There's a simple system, and they can see where they are on it. They look at the roadmap and say, I'm about number 1 and number 2. Like, okay, well, these are the steps that we need to go to. I've just hit the microphone. Hear that? Yeah, probably more than he needed to, especially if you're wearing headphones right now. So let's get back to this. So what will your roadmap be to move forward? And then when you reach it, will you have defined success? Will you be able to say, oh, my life has been amazing? Or will you just go, you know what, I've done a lot now, but I've still got loads more to do. And that's the thing, you see. When you reach the end of it, it's never about reaching the end of it. It's about the adventure all the way to get there. And that's why it's so exciting for when you talk to millionaires, billionaires, success stories, celebrities. The reason that they're so happy, when they are happy, not everybody is happy, is because they've had an up and down roller coaster. And you can't see this on the audio podcast. I was doing a kind of snaky thing, like a wave, like a slinky, or what do you call it when you boogaloo, electric boogaloo. Again, you can't see that because I didn't do it very well. But they had ups and downs that they're able to look at and go, you know what, this changed me. This was amazing. This made a huge difference. And that's why it's important. If everything was great and fantastic and easy, it wouldn't have the same relevance for you. It'd be kind of boring and it wouldn't be able to make you happy. So I've shown you this before. This is about the contented map, the happiness roadmap. And people talked about this over the weekend at the Gladiator Summit. So to put this in perspective, it's not about just being happy. It's not about being sad. That's what most people go through. If you can find the green line on this, which is about being contented, again, you're not going to notice if it's the audio podcast, but it's about being able to reframe yourself so you're actually going, you know what, life is okay. Even if it's tough, it's okay. Sometimes it's amazing, sometimes it's frustrating, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Well, you would want it a little bit more if you could just get happiness all the way through. That would possibly be a little bit more useful, but you wouldn't appreciate how happy it makes you because you wouldn't know what sad is to compare it to. Does that make sense? No? Well, Google it. Okay. Or do we Google anymore? ChatGPT it. Search it, whatever. There are other search engines available. So looking at your legacy, that's kind of what you should be thinking about. How does it all come together? What do you need to do? What's the important first start to do that? Well, I will share that with you in future episodes, but I don't spend the entire show just going on and educating you when I could be having fun with you. So let's just have some fun instead. Okay? Good. Right. So when you look at your legacy and when you look at who you are and all the stuff that you've done, it's quite important to be able to turn around and say, what was my timeline? Because as you can see here, I've got lots of grey hair. Have you, Dave? Yes, I have. Thank you for pretending you didn't notice it. And it all comes down to one thing, which is with your age and with your experiences, you should be able to get wisdom from it, but you should also have some incredible things. And your moods change and your needs change. When I look back at one of my best friends ever came to Dubai, Paul Foreman, who I knew from school. We've known each other 45 years. Yes, that's how old I am. I'm 46. And when we share stories that just go so far back, only we know, and cavemen know exactly, and dragons used to be there as well in the old days, like Game of Thrones. And it's quite fascinating to look at it because we don't have the same needs now. The crazy stuff we got up to, completely different from what people do nowadays. So I'm glad at that time we got it all out of our system for legal reasons, and we just enjoy a different spin on life right now. Now, I won't spend too long on this. I just want to show you something. So when you look at your legacy and your timeline, then you want to be able to look through and say, well, what does that mean? So here's the thing. I showed you this already, which is the 6 different steps of what creates your timeline. But more than anything, I wanted to show you this. My timeline has 6 steps in it. So that's me being born. That's my Max character, which is another story. I'm not going to tell you about that today. And all the stuff I did in my early stages from going through school and get my first few jobs. Then after that, it moved on. I got my job at the BBC. I went from awakening to aspiring. Remember the timeline I shared with you earlier? The timeline is this. Okay, so I'm now on the second part, aspiring. If you're listening to it, you've got no idea. Trust me, it's worth getting hold of the video or watching it on LinkedIn or wherever else other people are watching this, other places are available to. So then you go into aspiring, and that's all the stuff I did in the UK, which is very exciting. And I won TV shows and I organized big events and all sorts of that. When you look back at it, you go, oh my goodness, did you do all that? In fact, I was a front man for an organization, a dance band, male dance band, like a boy band called Male Train. And we're like the Chippendales, we did TV, we did, me. I used to be hunky and not just like, fat with glasses. Then you go into driving, and driving for me was when I chose to go to Dubai. I've had enough now of the UK. Thank you very much for everything. I'm never going to get the break that I want. You guys are never going to give me the opportunity to really step up to the next level. So I left the country and went looking to seek my fortune, and that happened in Dubai. And so that's the next stage. So you can map it all out, and if you look at the times and the dates and so on, you can see all the stuff that's involved. Then you get to a point where it's positioning. There's loads of things you do. It doesn't seem like you're moving too much, but you're doing lots of different things that really allow you to be positioned. So in this one here, you can see all the events I've done. So from 2005 to 2024, 25, where we are right now. I know it's 24, but some people might watch this in about a year. That's including going to NASA, looking after Dubai Rugby Sevens for 20 years, hosting World Beauty Championships, hosting ICC T20 World Cup Cricket, beach football, Special Olympics, World Ultimate Strongman. There's loads of stuff here. Rock concerts, everything. I mean, all the stuff that goes into that includes stuff that looks like, where we go. Okay, let's take a bit of this. Look at this. Hi, I'm Dave Crane. So there you go, Dave's massive ego. I've got to show you the video. The video wasn't, I didn't show it to you to go, Dave's great. I showed it to you because I wanted to share with you what happened during that time in my timeline that I was talking about. It's really important to be able to put it into perspective. So that was all about positioning, things I was doing with stuff I'd already learned, stuff I'd already perfected, and putting it out there as practice so people can see, oh yeah, he's a hypnotherapist, he's a life coach, he's releasing CDs, he's doing all sorts of stuff. And then the next stage of what you need to do is you need to refine it. You look for all the stuff you're doing and you say, right, I've done loads of crazy things, traveled the world, done all this, whatever it is. Now this is my version, so you what the same version of your own version of this. I've done all these different things, worked with all these different clients, made all these things with gadgets, widgets, whatever. Now I want to work out just who wants this knowledge. Who can best take it? I'm not going to show them everything because I don't want everything. What of my stuff works best for the people that I want to reach? And then you refine it. And then once you've done that, you can position yourself properly, owning it. That's when you become an industry icon. That's when you can turn around and say, look, I'm the best at what I do. And here's the proof. Because when you can do that, you can turn around and you've got a couple of things. You got the fact that you can say to anybody, there's the evidence. You can get trust, you can get certainty and authority that I'm the best person to work with you. The credibility is there. You can see it. All the stuff that you need to know about working with me is there. So there's no worries about it. And when it gets to that, people just say, okay, how much is it going to cost me? And in truth, when you talk about the cost, it's not that. It's a smokescreen. If people turn around and say, oh, you know what, how much, I'm comparing it to other people, it's because you haven't proven yourself to have so much value. People go, oh my goodness, it doesn't matter what it costs, I need you. And that's because you've got to get a better balance between what they're investing to work with you and all the huge stuff they're going to get as a direct result of working for you. It has to be such an imbalance and such a great deal to turn around and say, oh, it's a no-brainer. I've got to work with you forever for the rest of my life, and it's spooky because I'm going to stalk you and live with you forever. That's why I'm sleeping in the car just behind you. So you've got two cars together. And then you've got to do something really wow, which is like this, producing my book, The Thought Leaders Playbook. If you haven't come across this before, then it's got loads of amazing stuff. I'm not going to spend too long on this because it's massively egotistic, but we'll show you this, which is if you want to get a copy of it and have a look through, then you can do, and then you can go and buy it. The details are there as well. Go to www.speakonstage.com/playbook. Or get the QR code, and I will put the details in the comment section so you can actually get access to it now. It's available on Amazon, and it will change your life. I promise you, I guarantee, and this is it. It's a big, thick book. When people say, Dave, can you give me a copy of your book? Look how thick it is. It's like a massive brick. It's like the old days when you used to have a VHS cassette, and you'd send it out to people, and you'd wait for ages. It cost you a fortune, and it's really heavy as well. So it's worth your weight in gold. Not really gold, but gold would be a bit heavier. It's like a gold bar, but with ways of teaching you how to, make a gold bar. And this is how you get hold of it again. So the QR code, and once again, www.speakonstage.com/playbook. And that kind of brings us to an end today. I hope you enjoyed today's show. I wanted to share with you a couple of insights that came to me as a direct result of going to the Gladiator Summit. Once again, thanks to Dariush and Ali and Angela Saudi, who put the whole thing together, and their team, who just did an incredible job. And all the many people I met and chatted to, friends like Christian Farioli and so on, Gotham Ganglani, who were there, and we hung out and laughed and shared ideas and insights. And as I mentioned, the important thing is to become a lifelong learner, all the time working on stuff, all the time pushing yourself, staying outside of your comfort zone. Because when you're outside of your comfort zone, that's when the magic really happens. Otherwise, you're the same as everybody else. And you never want to be like that, because if you're the same as everybody else, then you get paid the same as everybody else. And you've got no position to be able to turn around and say, you really want to work with me, I'm the best at what I do. I hope this makes sense to you. So I'm going to leave you with a final video all about creating your legacy, which is when you look back at it and you're on your final resting place, not dead yet. And people say, so what did you do with your life? You can turn around and say, I did this. And they go, that's really cool. And if you can't do that yet, then that's what you need to be working for and working on and putting together. It's about creating your legacy. Today's show, I hope it was useful for you and give you some inspired ideas. I did mention earlier, but this is the Thought Leaders game. When you work with me with the Industry Icon program, or join our Game Changers, or join our WhatsApp group, everything I do is based on this, and the book is available for you to be able to see all that stuff too. So it's been a pleasure spending quality time with you. Look forward to catching up with you as well. This is about legacy, and this is all about you. Thank you for your time. Remember to jump and grow wings on the way down, and catch me next time. Subscribe to Speak on Stage.
I have been participating in Dave Crane's Industry Icon program.
Dave Crane is one of the best coaches in the industry.
One of the most knowledgeable speakers I know.
I was so impressed.
He shared the stage with celebrities, athletes, politicians, and royalty.
You've been an inspiration to me since the first time I saw you on LinkedIn, man.
New prospects should know that you are a world-class broadcaster.
He's a true professional. He operates from his heart, and he always speaks his truth.
Where do I begin?
I looked around the room, and all I could see was eyes on you, ears on you. You could have heard a pencil drop.
Dave is someone who is a limitless thinker with a big heart.
And his Industry Icon program helps coach great leaders into becoming great speakers.
It's helped me improve my image online. Everyone I know that's worked with you says the same thing. It's helped me improve my presentation and speaking abilities.
Clarity, clarity, and clarity.
But more importantly, it's helped me to have a crystal clear message in what benefit I can add to my audience.
You know, I'm in TV, and so people assume that, you know, speaking in front of crowds is easy. But I'm on a set, and it's very different to go from a closed set to speaking to a live audience.
Now, because of Dave, I totally get it. I totally get why it's important, and I totally get that I can do it too.
Thank you for tuning in to another insightful episode of Speak on Stage with Dave Crane. We hope you found today's conversation inspiring and packed with valuable insights to help you to amplify your presence on stage too. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform and leave us a review. Your feedback helps us improve and reach more aspiring speakers just like yourself. Remember, the stage is your platform to shine. And with the right tools and mindset, you can captivate any audience anywhere. So keep honing your craft, refining your message, and never shy away from the spotlight. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll dive even deeper into the world of public speaking and performance. Until then, keep speaking, keep shining, and keep making an impact. This is Dave Crane signing off. See you next time. Speak on Stage.